I was infamously famous for my wonderful time management and inability to control my mood swings, and this costed me so much of my precious time. But we won't let this happen to you. So let's discuss some wonderful hacks. It is a concept famously used by billionaires like Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Time batching is a time management technique that includes grouping similar tasks together and setting aside a time to complete them all. The purpose of time batching is to minimize distractions for a workflow that enables concentration, attention to detail, and productivity. In fact, batching comes naturally to us, but perhaps we are not aware of it. You can take an example of laundry. You do not wash a single piece of cloth. You only wash once your clothes basket gets full. Let's say shopping. You do not shop every single day. First you create a list, then you shop for a week or two or perhaps for a month. But interestingly, billionaire Mark Cuban, he shops for 3-4 years to get hefty discount. Put aside fruits and vegetables, of course. Now, how to use time batching in your studies or work? Let's assume it's Monday today, and you have been given assignments on physics, biology, and arithmetic. You've got 1 week to prepare exactly. And here is what most of the students typically do with their time. They spend equal amount of time on every subject, which is pretty decent actually. But if you want to do great work, you need flow. In fact, in this interesting book, Flow, Psychology of Optimal Experience, author suggests once you enter the heightened state of consciousness known as flow, creativity goes through roof and your productivity goes up by 500%. But the heightened consciousness of flow can only be achieved when you focus on one thing. You immerse yourself in single task. Then you get into the state of consciousness known as flow experience. When in flow, you lose your sense of time, your sense of self, and this produces great work. Actually, the problem is our brain. It cannot multitask. It can take many inputs but produces one output only. It also hates switching. The process is called neural network switching. So being a student, the better strategy would be to give 2 days each to a single subject if you wish to do a great and creative work. But in professional life, we might have to complete more than one important thing and many other small tasks. Time batching works there as well. For time batching to work successfully, allot yourself specific time for different tasks. 5 minutes for this, 5 minutes for this. At this particular time, I'll be checking emails. At this particular time, I'll be checking social media websites. Work check, work check, work check. No. Work check. Don't keep checking social media websites after every 5 minutes. This will kill your productivity. If you want time batching to work successfully, specific time for specific work. The best thing about time batching is that it helps us avoid distractions. Specific time for specific work. If you keep getting distracted, our brain takes minimum 15 minutes to regain that focus, and it adds up over time. One of the Elon Musk's most infamous character traits is his likelihood to set extremely aspiring deadlines. If you are familiar with Tesla's history, first they promised to deliver Roadster in 2006. Later, date was further and further pushed back, and finally it came in the market in 2008. On the flip side, these seemingly impossible deadlines have a very powerful effect on Tesla's team. If Elon Musk didn't set bars so high, then Tesla wouldn't be able to release Roadster even in 2008, said by one of Tesla's executive employees. Well, the technique used by Elon Musk is known as Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law teaches us how to study harder and smarter. Now here's what you need to do. Make a list of your tasks and divide them up by the amount of time it takes to complete them. Now use Parkinson's Law and do the work, finish the work in half of the time. The same concept was illustrated by Robert Greene in his book Mastery, where he talks about the scenario of Thomas Alva Edison. He says Edison deliberately talked to the press about an idea even before it was ready. This would create hype and excitement among people. Now, if we drop the ball and let too much time pass, his reputation would suffer. Thus, his mind would spark into the high gear and make it happen. Sounds like what Elon Musk still does, right? Necessity, deadlines, announcements. Tim Ferriss rightly said the end product of the shorter deadline is almost inevitably equal or of higher quality due to greater focus. Richard Branson repeatedly says that the single most important possession he has is his little notebook. This little notebook of his keeps telling him what to do next. And that's how he has built his Virgin brand. There were many amazing ideas or important tasks that are gone simply because we forgot to write it down. More importantly, holding up to the information just here ruins our ability to process the new information. So it would be better if you start keeping a journal. And this fourth tip is my favorite one. Actually, timing isn't the main thing. It's the only thing. In business, it is believed that whosoever rides the high tide of opportunity at the perfect time sails through successfully. If you can understand the game of your timings, your productivity, creativity can break all the barriers. Before I go further with my rah-rah-rah, let me enlighten you with this interesting research. Few years ago, two social scientists, Michael Messi and Scott Golder, studied more than 500 million tweets. They simply wanted to measure people's emotions, positive and negative both, such as confidence, enthusiasm, alertness, lethargy, guilt, anger. For this, they used advanced computerized text analysis program, and the results were astonishing. The tweets tweeted in the waking hours, usually in the morning, were hopeful and engaging, but plummeted in the afternoon and surprisingly climbed back in the early evening. It simply reflects our mood swings. Generally in the morning, people are hopeful and enthusiastic. Hope dips in the afternoon, perhaps because of bad news or bad day or nothing at all. But in the evening, we start feeling hopeful again. Actually, the daily fluctuations, or you can say mood swings, are more frequent than we often realize. This book, When, talks about the subject in great detail. Okay, here's an important thing. You ought to do self-analysis. Find out the answer of the simple question. When does my productivity peak? Whether you are an early morning bird or night owl, whether your productivity peaks in early morning, late morning, in early evening, or late night. If you find out the answer of this question, you can control your mood swings. We are repeatedly asked questions on mood swings in our online and offline sessions. Well, we talk about the subject in great detail, but knowing about the peak of your productivity can be a game changer. Let's assume that your mental energy level peaks in the morning and you know it. Now there are chances that you would try to complete your most important work in the morning itself rather than procrastinating it, because if your energy level dips in the afternoon, you might fall prey to mood swings and your important work gone. Isn't it remarkable? Of course it is. Once you get to know your timings, once you know when your mental energy peaks or dips, you can plan your work. You can do your most important or creative work when this peaks, less important work when this dips. Then come what may, fluctuations, mood swings, you are still achieving every day. Remember, timing is the only thing.